Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Boomer Live once again. And today we are in, it's a hot day in Bangalore, but nonetheless, we are here to watch Afghanistan versus England game, and we'll be previewing that game as the atmosphere in Delhi is kicking in. The current temperature in Delhi is 35 degrees Celsius, and of course, the captain Joss Butler and Shahidi is out there. And remember, this is a very big game for Afghanistan. They have lost close to 11 games on a trot in their World Cups in 2019, and this will be a very good game. So sit back and relax and have a good day watching this game. But before that, we are here live on Boom 11. I've Jen with me, and after last night of great win for India, we're still soaking in. As one would say, as the penny dropped, the penny has certainly not dropped yet. We're still in that high of the win. England has won the toss and put Afghanistan to bat first in Delhi. England are going unchanged, and whereas Afghanistan also haven't made any change, in my opinion. I think they've got Ikram Akil. That's the only change. What I say, the wicketkeeper batter comes into the team, and they've also, they are going to possibly going to look to score big this time, because last time what you saw with their bowling performance was very abysmal, and Afghanistan would want to get their first win in the last 11 games. Since 2019 World Cup, they've not had a win. Aisha is here with us. Welcome, Aisha. प्लीज आज के मैच के बात करें, इसलिए का छोड़ दे. हाँ यार, आज के मैच के बात ही कर रहा हूँ आज. अभी Jaren, big game for Afghanistan today, and if they win today, that's going to give them a lot of confidence. And obviously, England starts as clear-cut favorites, and they are the team to go out there and lose today rather than Afghanistan going on to beat them. England have to make mistakes to lose today. And last time when these two oppositions met, Rashid Khan took a lot of tonking, and Owen Morgan went after them, and that's what happened in the 2019 World Cup. But certainly in today's game, Afghanistan would want to change a thing or two and maybe improve from what they got against India. Against India, they were abysmal. They lost in all three departments. They were not just there. They did well in batting in patches, but to be very fair, 270, 280 was not going to be doing any good in that Firuzshah Kotla wicket or Arun Jaitley Stadium wicket, which is extremely flat, isn't it?
Yeah, we were just going. Just going over the pitch report as well, and its square boundaries are a lot shorter. I think one of the square boundaries is only 58 meters long, and it's going to be absolute chaos out there for bowlers, especially for spinners. There are going to be some sweeps and reverse sweeps coming out to the English team. You know that for sure. Another thing is obviously that Dinesh Karthik, who is doing the pitch report, is also predicted there's going to be dew there, which means it's going to be that much more tougher, when it comes to keeping a target or defending a target. I think you'll have to bat out of your skins if you're batting first, and the toss is going to be that much more important.
Facing a slight connection issue, but nonetheless, today who's going to win? I think today's match, I would obviously England are the clear-cut favorites to win this game because of so many reasons. If you look at the way in which England has been playing, or Afghanistan's current form in these kind of tournaments hasn't been the best in any ICC tournament since 2020 or 2021. They've been extremely poor, and we've always rated this Afghanistan team to go out there and do a job. In 2019, also, they were expected to do a better job, but they went on to lose 9 games on the bounce. That was extremely poor. I'm expecting Afghanistan to be extremely fearless. The only way Afghanistan can defeat England is to be extremely fearless and get a score in excess of close to 300, 320, 340 by playing fearless brand of cricket, which is a Herculean task. It's not going to be easy for Afghanistan to sit there and be like, we're going to score 340 against the likes of Mark Wood, Reece Toplin, Sam Curran, and we're going to be an absolute finesse. We're going to be finesse with with the job we're going to do. It's not easy, It's extremely hard to defeat English team, even if you're one of the top quality sides in the world. You have to be absolutely on top of your game to defeat the English team. On top of that, maybe add the fact that it's Afghanistan. They have lost 2 games in a row. There's so many baggage at this point. Even within the team, they need their batters to step up. They want the likes of Ibrahim Zadran, Rahmanullah Gurbaz. I think Rahmanullah Gurbaz Rahmanullah Gurbaz is playing today. Ibrahim Zadran, Rahmanullah Gurbaz, or Rahmat Shah, Mohammad Nabi. Everybody to step up today. Even for the Omar Zai did a good job. Shahid did a good job in the last game, but they would want them to go out there and play big innings. 280, 270 will be a walk in the park for England, considering the conditions. And there are chances of dew coming in later in the day. It is still the onset of winters in Delhi. You might not see a lot of dew, but you can never anticipate anything in these kind of conditions, isn't it? So what would be Afghanistan's ideal way to go about in today's game, considering they're put to bat first now?
Yeah, I mean, I think for everything you have to say that, as you mentioned, there is dew coming in, is what from the pitch report we'll be getting, and the boundaries are very short, square. So I think it's going to be a target where you need to at least go 330, 340 to be very frank, because this England team, especially if you're Afghanistan, if you're batting, I mean, if you're batting first, you need to score a 340 at least, because this team is, I know they haven't really started off that great, but then that doesn't matter, because when it comes to it, this England team is a dangerous one. And that obviously means that they are still capable of destroying bowling lineups. And Afghanistan, of all people, will know it. 2019 World Cup, they were absolutely smashed around the park by England. But I know there was Owen Morgan back in the day, but it won't matter at all, because this England team is just as destructive. So obviously, Afghanistan do start off with a lot of disadvantage, considering the fact that it's not a turning track or a kind of track that Afghanistani spinners will really enjoy. On the other hand, England will feel a lot more confident, because once you say square the wicket, they will bring out their sweeps. And well, Arun Jaitley Stadium was also the venue for the highest ever World Cup score. So wouldn't be surprised if England try and challenge that target that was set up by South Africa.
True. I mean, that could be, but to be honest, England are bowling first. So until and unless that happens, until unless Afghanistan scores something big, I don't think anything else is going to happen otherwise. I also see why England have chose to ball, because they feel in these kind of conditions, the pitch isn't going to change a lot. And as Kapil said, with the format being longer, it's always said the minnow teams or the teams are just slightly low in talent. I can't disrespect the team in saying that, but the fact of the matter is, the quality matters a lot in these kind of formats, especially 50 overs or test format. The quality is what defines these kind of formats, and that's what separates the two teams. For example, last night, India was the higher quality team on the paper, and they showed why they were the higher quality team for that matter. And that's exactly what I'm trying to talk about. Even against Afghanistan was just England, Afghanistan has to be playing their best ever cricket to defeat England. And I don't think they've ever defeated England in a 50 over format. And this has to be their best ever game to go on to defeat England as well. I think that's going to really separate both the teams. But for me today, as I mentioned, Afghanistan will have to score a lot of runs. Firstly, they have to be aggressive. I don't think they can take a back seat and be like, okay, we'll go 5 runs per over, 4 runs per over, score 250, 260, and we'll be content with it. I don't think that's going to work. Against India, they were very happy scoring 270, but what happened? India went on a chase that score in 34 odd overs. And for Afghanistan as well, I know they are still waiting to play on a turning track, which will aid their spinners like Mujib, Nabi, and Rashid. But in Delhi, I think it's their second game. I think they should have come in terms by saying that if we have to defend any score, we have to put runs on the board as well. The scoreboard pressure is the only way in which you can let Rashid come into the game. Or else, if Rashid is going to come into the game at 15, 16 overs and the opposition is already 110, 120, there's no point. I mean, his effect is going to be absolutely nullified by the English batters as well. So that's where I think in our next match is our next match Australia. Yes, you guys are playing Australia in Bangalore, as I mentioned. They will be that will be an interesting chance for a lot of reasons, because Australia in Bangalore, because of the weather, because of the conditions, it's raining in Bangalore slightly these days. So you don't know what to expect out of the Chinnaswamy pitch, the match. Is it going to be a 50 over game and whatnot, isn't it, Jaren? But before that, let's talk about the Afghanistan batting. What do you really find impressive in that batting, to be honest, from the last game? I found Omarzai and Shahidi's batting to be extremely well. I thought they applied themselves well, and I thought they still could have gone on to score big runs. They gave away their wicket in a cheap man. I know Hardik ball half cutter to him, and otherwise I think it was Kuldeep Yadav who took the other wicket as well. But they could have gone on because they were looking extremely comfortable on that flat deck.
Yeah, I mean, Afghanistan batting has come leaps and bounds ever since, I think 2019, especially, you would have to say, 2019, their batting looked very weak. But ever since that, they've got some stars in their batting lineup, and they've got a lot of guys who affect the way a cricket match changes ever since that point in time. But I think for them to do well today, I think that we've got an update now. They're bowling first, right? So,
Yeah.
which means for them to chase down the target today, you would have to say that someone like a Ramanullah Gurbaz becomes so much more important. and that's because he can give them those explosive starts, which can push them towards a very good, a very good base for them to build on from there on. Because England are going to bat out of their skins. England also, probably bowling is not their biggest strength, but having said that, they can still overwhelm Afghanistan batting. What Afghanistan need to do is make sure that they take calculated risks. They don't give away their wicket. And after all, what you have to do is ensure that even if you are giving your wickets, it is for good deliveries and not really, mistakes that you or your team has made. Those are going to be the most important things. I think basics is going to be really important, because after all, at the end of the day, that's what cricket's all about, right? You have to keep it simple. Bad balls have to be put away, and even if sometimes, obviously a team like England will not give you a lot of bad deliveries, so maybe there will be times when you have to upset the line of the bowlers, but you have to pick your battles, and maybe sometimes realize where the weakness of the bowler is. So maybe someone like
Mm-hmm.
Mark Wood, what he can do, right? He is a very good bowler, but sometimes he does end up spraying the ball, or maybe
Yeah,
giving that bit to you. Capitalize on those moments as well. So at least for now, we know that England is also not a team which has looked 100%, because we still don't know if Ben Stokes is playing. I think he isn't playing
no, he's
today
not
as well,
playing.
if
It's
I'm
Harry
not
Brook.
wrong.
It's Harry
He's
Brook.
not
There's no.
playing today as well. So that really gives them a little less variety in their bowling. But then, having said that, another thing about batting, bowling first, is that you're gonna have to face the likes of Sam Curran, Chris Wokes under the lights. So that initial few overs is going to be difficult. So that's where even the bowlers, it'll be a lot on them that they don't give away a lot of runs, because if you do that, then you will have to really go after the bowling after that 5-6 overs are gone, because a new ball is going to do a little bit of damage.
Absolutely. Shinwari asked us a question asking that thoughts on Mickey Arthur complaining, यार अहमदाबाद crowd misbehave किए थे रजवान के साथ. Okay, that's an interesting question from both of you guys. And in couple says India's main targets are South Africa, England, New Zealand, semi-final and final. So yeah, I'll just take that up before we talk about this match as well. I think what you saw yesterday is a clear, as Michael rightly mentioned, it is a hostile cricketing atmosphere. I don't think you can take it as an excuse for a loss. Come on, man. You got like collapsed in 36 runs, and you're saying that because Dil Pakistan wasn't played in the stadium, that's why you lost. I mean, if you're going to that level of excuses, I mean, it's just bad. If that's the mindset with which your team's director or the coach is going to come out and talk in the press conference, then I'm so sorry. That's not a good team's response to a loss. Champion teams take it up, say that we played badly, we go. They don't give excuses saying that I'm so sorry to say that Dil Pakistan or Chak De India was not played in South Africa or in UAE. That's where we lost. Come on, man. Dil Pakistan was played throughout the Colombo in every match in Asia Cup. Did Pakistan do any better? That's what my question is. Dil Pakistan was played in Melbourne last year during the World Cup final. Did Pakistan do any better? I don't think this should be any excuse. Come on. To be very fair, Mickey Arthur needs to grow up. I mean, he's a funny character. He's a character who likes to really take on the fight, but that's not what I expect from a coach coming in and giving excuses. And Michael is right. If you're playing hostile atmospheres, if you watch football, you know that when you're in front of the away fans, it's just not the 11 players you're dealing with. You're dealing with 1 lakh, 90,000, 80,000, whoever it is in the away fans as well. That's why away matches are the hardest. And until June 13th rather, everyone were talking about how they are pumped up to go and defeat India in front of Indian crowd. What happened overnight? What happened overnight? That's my question. Overnight, did everything change? Jen, I want to know your opinion as well. Isn't this just a big excuse which they have served on everyone's plate, saying that, oh yeah, there was no crowd support, that's why we lost? That's just mimical. That's just comical, in my opinion. That's just poor excuse from a professional sporting team.
I don't think any team's songs are being played this year's World Cup, and you do not hear Australia say the same thing and crib about it. You do not. You probably won't hear any other team which ends up losing the match say the same thing. Mickey Arthur could have said it in a different way. I mean, he could have said it that the pressure got to his team, and he will look to improve. That is the sign of a champion team. That's the sign of a champion coach. You never expect. I mean, I don't think if India goes to any other country, I'm not even talking about Pakistan. Forget Pakistan. If India goes to Australia or any other country, I won't expect that song to be played there. And even if it is played, I mean that just depends on the DJ or the performer out there on that day. Because I mean, if you look at it in many ways, yeah, I understand. I mean, we all know that pressure got to you, but you cannot be blaming the guy who's playing music. That's just absurd. I mean, that is that a cricketing reason? I think what Mickey Arthur should have done is what I mean, Arteta did. Play what do you say, Vande Mataram on speakers while Pakistan was training. So I think he missed out on that. Maybe this is my tip. Mickey Arthur, if you're watching, try and play Vande Mataram on speakers next time for your lads so that they absorb the pressure.
I mean, that's just nonsense, to be very honest. I can understand playing in front of your away fans is a hard atmosphere in any time, in any sport. We've seen that in football more often, but I'm happy that atmosphere is transcending to cricket as well. You want your home support because that's a hostile atmosphere you want to create. It's not about disrespecting the players, or it's not about doing racist stuff. There were a lot of good things. If you remember, after Hassan Ali took Virat's wicket, when he went to the boundary, he got standing ovation, and which Hassan Ali also reverted back, saying that thank you for that. So there are a lot of good moments which happened in yesterday's game. For the matter, I heard a few stories saying that when a few people were sitting down for the Pakistan national anthem, there was a 60-year-old lady who told them to stand up because it's a guest who has come and you don't disrespect the guest. I mean, there are a lot of things which you need to respect. There are going to be nuisance and hooligans everywhere, and they're not. But the fact of the matter is, Pakistan did not lose the game because of the fans. And if they did, and I'm so sorry, they are going to have a tough time throughout the tournament. In Hyderabad, fans did say, "Jitega bhai, jitega, Pakistan jitega chance." The Indians. So, what more do you want? When you're playing against a home nation, you are expected to have this. It was 130,000. It's not like they did not see this coming. They saw this coming from day one when the fixture was announced, from the ground was announced, from everything was announced. So I don't want to talk about it much. Let's go to the English team. Uh, to be very fair, I think this England team, their biggest strength at this point with Reece Topley coming in is the variety they have in their bowling. With Reece Topley in that lineup with Mark Wood and Adil Rashid, they form a very strong core in the bowling. You saw that against Bangladesh as well. Reece Topley is a massive bonus in this team. You saw how good he was before his injury. Unfortunately, that he got injured before the T20 World Cup and in between the IPL as well. Now he's fit and fine. He is a whole nother ball altogether because he hits the right length. He can take the ball away and in, and also he's got a good change of pace.
Oh yeah, I mean he's also getting the ball to move a lot more. As a left armer, especially. I mean, he's got to move ball to move away from the left-handers or swing inwards towards the right-handers. So
Yeah,
he's become a lot more potent than that. I mean, before he was just a lot more seam up, and seam movement is what he relied on. But now he's getting a swing in the air as well,
yeah,
and he's hurrying the batters. So overall, he's really starting to use the new ball really well, and we knew that he was going to be a threat as well. That injury really hurt him in the middle period there. I think towards the late 2022. But then he's back and he's doing really well. I think that's a very good sign for them, especially because last match, the first match they played against, I think it was it South Africa or was it New Zealand? New Zealand, yeah, it was against New Zealand, and you saw Chris Stokes go for plenty of runs. So for Reece Topley to take up the new ball along with Sam Curran, I think that's a good sign for them because that kind of helps them hide Chris Stokes in the early period, and then
yeah.
maybe bring him back as a change up to Reece Topley or Sam Curran, depending on who gets tired. But having said that, he's going to be a threat for someone like Ramanullah Gurbaz as well, because we have seen that on days ball moves a little bit, he tends to be a lot less effective. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out for Afghanistan as well, because I think a lot of how today goes is going to be tied to him, because it's going to be a high scoring game unless England really mess it up in that opening back in the first innings. It's going to be a high scoring game, and even there, you need a Ramanullah Gurbaz to give them that start. So I think Ramanullah Gurbaz versus Reece Topley might just decide this game for Afghanistan.
Absolutely. But to be very fair as well, I think dropping Moeen Ali was a shocker. Until unless there's an injury, doesn't make any sense for him to drop Moeen Ali as well. Because not having Moeen Ali, especially in these kind of conditions, is a surprise. I have no idea why Moeen Ali has been left out as of now. If you guys have any update, please do put it in the comments as well. Why Moeen Ali has been left out in today's game. From whatever I see, I can't find a reason to say why Moeen Ali has been left out. neither have I got any news from Butler or from anywhere in the broadcasters as well. So that's a surprise. They're going in with Sam Curran at number 7, Chris Brooks at 8. So that's an interesting one. They can afford to do it because they've got lengthy batting order as well. I don't think they miss out a lot in doing that. But that's England, right? I know they play. They don't want to give any more spin challenge to Afghanistan. They want to go with their elite spin, fast bowling attack, and they can afford to do it because Joe Root, Liam Livingston, Adil Rashid, they all can chip in with the ball. They technically have one or two spinners in the team anyways without having the likes of Moeen Ali. Moeen Ali was just an added bonus, and they can play quality forward paces. This is something which they'll do against a lot of Asian teams. I expect them to do this against Pakistan, against the likes of maybe even against India for that matter. Until and unless against India, I still expect Moeen Ali to play because he's got a good matchup against India historically. So I'm expecting Moeen Ali to play there. But other than that, they can afford to do this to play against all the Asian teams like Bangladesh. Against Bangladesh, Moeen Ali did play, but other teams, whoever is the lower ranked Sri Lanka or whoever it is. But yeah, that's the balance which England carries into this tournament. But for England as well, they lost a game. Now they know that they can't really mess up against these teams. They know that they have to be on top of the game and they can just go out there and play their own cricket. But what is that pressure which will come to them? The moment 320, 330 is scored and then the pitch tends to grip, isn't that's going to be a different story in this game because we still don't know how this pitch is going to behave. And if it's a flat deck, I can still say, okay, fine, England is in the game and England is totally going to win this. But as the pitch starts to grip slightly, where Mujib, Rashid, all are going to be in that game, then David Malan, Johnny Bairstow, for the matter, most of the, even Joe Root, might be just stuck in the crease for a lot longer. And then a 290, 280 will look a lot bigger in a Firozshah Kotla Stadium because we know with Arun Jaitley Stadium of Firozshah Kotla, one thing which you should never trust is the way in which the pitch is going to play out. It's often changed the colors within the tournament. Multiple times we've seen that in IPL. Multiple times we've seen that in various other tournaments as well. So that's one thing which is given in the Firozshah Kotla Stadium, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right on that. We've seen a Firozshah Kotla become spinners' haven to a spinners' graveyard, and what we saw in the last game was a spinners' graveyard. Nothing for Velalage, nothing for Dhananjay De Silva, but things can change, And you're right. I mean, this is the same pitch, same ground, which is turned a lot square. In fact, in the just a few months back in the IPL. So, but I think one thing for sure. I think it is going to be a lot easier for batters to go after the bowling if it is flat because the boundaries are not big, and the only thing that can actually hurt batters is if there's demons in the pitch. But yeah, having said that, you never know how it's going to react. But so far, what we've got, right? Only thing we can go off of is the pitch report, and Dinesh Karthik says it's going to be a flat pitch, and it's going to be just as flat as what was against South Africa. I mean, again in South Africa versus Sri Lanka. So if that's
Yeah.
the case, obviously advantage is England, and also looking at how they've selected their team, right? I think Dinesh Karthik is somewhere spot on. So, I mean, if it was if any of the captains expected it to turn, you would have seen a lot more spinners being included. So,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a flat track.
I also think, one factor which the England would have kept in mind bowling first is also the flatness of the deck. They would have assessed this pitch as well, saying that this is not going to change a lot in the next 100 overs or 80 overs, and we back ourselves to chase anything in excess of 300 as well on this wicket. Because I know one team who really backs it to chase even 350 on a deck like this is England because they believe themselves, because they believe they've got the goods and the firepower till number 8, number 9 to go out there and do a job, and they'll do it more often than not, and they've done it in multiple occasions. But again, it comes down to the fact how Afghanistan bats because in the toss, Shahidi was very clear saying that they would want to score in excess of 300, but I think 300 is still a mere total in this wicket. If it's a very good deck, 350 or 360 is ideal. And then you expect the likes of Naveen Hulak, Rashid Khan, Mujib, everybody to, put the brakes on. What Afghanistan would want is early wickets when England comes on to bat. For England, they would want to pick up the top order, put Afghanistan under pressure straight away. Once Rahmanullah Gurbaz is dismissed, then you would see a slight bit of jitterness in the Afghanistan camp as well. Because one player who can really change this game, as you rightly mentioned, is Rahmanullah Gurbaz. Because if he stays in that crease, he can possibly cause a lot more havoc than what one can expect, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, precisely. This Afghanistan team, I think their strength is their lower order and and to be very frank, Ramanullah Gurbaz. It was a good sign to see the captain, Hazmatullah Shahidi do what he did. and also Azmatullah Omarzai against India. But I mean, you're still gonna have to, you're still gonna have to see how it goes, because it was just one match against India. You still want these players to continue to perform well and do really good. But having said that, I genuinely don't know if they're gonna repeat the performance. I'll be really happy to see them repeat the performance. But and today there is a possibility because it's a flat pitch, but they're batting second, and if early inroads are made by England, then I have a feeling that Afghanistan's underbelly, the soft underbelly that's the middle order, might just be exposed a little bit, because we've seen this happen a lot to Afghanistan, right? I mean, you remember the
Yeah.
Pakistan series as well, where they played under the lights and they couldn't, they couldn't really survive the onslaught by the Pakistani fast bowlers as well on a flat track.
Yeah.
So this can happen to Afghanistan. I mean, Afghanistani team, and that's why this start is so much important for them.
Absolutely. I mean, so I think that's about it from us. Afghanistan, I've got the first ones on board by 5 wides. So that's not a bad start for them. They've taken any day of the week or any day if they're asked. That's the start you wanted. So that's about it. Thank you all for joining once again. We'll be back after the game tonight to talk about this in depth and see you all soon. Bye bye. Take care.